Hello, everyone, and welcome to SuttonsDaze. If you're new here, my name is Lisa, and we are all about pantry preparedness. And this kind of falls into that category, but it kind of skirts the edge, you know? I had a class this weekend that I took, and I left there going, oh, yeah. I want to take all these other classes. Now I got to do all these things and learn all these things. And now I'm super hyped up about this topic. And okay, breathe, Lisa, because, this will wear down. But it didn't. It kind of stuck in my head going, some of the stuff I just feel like I need to share. And then I received this comment on a Facebook post this morning. And I went, yeah, nah, we're going to do it. So, Ms. Valerie, I'm going to paraphrase here because the English isn't great, but stockpiling is good. Are you planning to stay in your home or leave because you can't take everything with you and people will be breaking into houses looking for it? Yeah, okay. I am so tired of this. I'm so tired of this, okay? So, and that was my response basically. Valerie, I am so wildly tired of this narrative. I mean, they may break in, but they won't be leaving in the same way. And I know how to compost. It's a bonus, it's a skill, okay? I have better things to worry about and little to no value regarding the lives of parasites, which is not inaccurate. I really do not. I don't believe that. I'm not big on turning the other cheek. Let's just say that. Okay. So as I sat there and went, oh gosh, number one, I'm super tired of this narrative because it's normally from people ignorant to the need, the necessity to have some kind of preparedness in their life because there's a whole, well, you guys know, okay? Most people do not believe in being prepared because it's always been there. It'll always be there. The government will take care of us. Everything's going to be fine. Don't worry about it. Yeah, whatever. And, you know, they can choose to leave well enough alone. They can choose to live with their head buried under the poop and pretend to be mushrooms, you know. I'm good. To each his own, and that's fine. But don't you dare leave comments saying, well, people are going to break into your house and steal your stuff. Well, I can tell you what, considering the intelligence level of most of the comments like this that I get, I'm not overly concerned about their ability to pull it off. But at the same time, it is time to be prepared because if you've been out there bragging up everything you're doing, okay, people are going to know about it and people are going to show up because they're going to think they're owed it because they didn't get off their lazy butts and take care of it themselves. It's a fact. Okay, it's a fact, but I'm going to call it what it is. They are parasites and they are entitled and they are wrong. And so we're going to talk today about how to be better prepared because I thought that this was really interesting. I'm going to leave all the links in the description box below this video for my sources, okay? But home break-ins, also called burglaries, right, remain a real threat, even if many people feel it won't happen to me, because it won't happen to me, right? In 2023, the U.S. saw approximately 840,000 burglaries reported, representing about 13.1% of all property crimes. And there was another fun little fact that I wanted to share with you is that, I've got all my notes, okay? Things to keep in mind is that NCVS captures victimization whether or not it was reported to police. Law enforcement data captures only what is reported. That means relying solely on reported crimes can understate actual crime levels. The fact of the matter is that a lot of crimes, a lot of break-ins go unreported. Yeah. Now, though burglary rates may have declined in recent years, that still means more than 2,300 break-ins per day. 2,300 break-ins per day on average. Many burglaries occur during daytime hours when homes are empty and often take less than 10 minutes to execute. Front doors, first floor windows, back doors are among the most common entry points. And the good news is that many burglaries are opportunistic. That means relatively modest security improvements that we'll go over can drastically reduce your risk. So that's what we're going to look at, because while you are building this up, you also need to build up your security. And I'm not talking bars on all the windows and the doors and, alarms and all that other, no, that costs money. And a lot of people don't have that kind of money. And my God, what a pain in the butt. Okay. So we have to be aware of the fact that truly lousy people are out there walking the face of the earth. I mean, last year, for the fall and part of the winter, we had break-ins happening in our county, blatant, brazen, walking up to the house, checking the car doors to see if they're open and stealing stuff. I mean, a lot of cars got broken into. They never did catch the gang that was doing it, okay? Because people in rural communities like this, tend to let their guard down. We live in a relatively low crime rate area, or so we assume. I'm sure that the local police have different statistics for us. So we just go, we're not living in an urban area. We're not in downtown, New York or Chicago or Detroit, we're not in a big city. I mean, my community has 900 people. The one next to us has 10,000. The one next to that has no, has 3,000. Yeah. Going the other, it's just low. It's low. All combined, the two counties together don't equal what most small cities in more urban areas have. So you kind of go, oh, it's not that bad here. That doesn't mean you let your guard down by any stretch. And I know perfectly well that by showing pictures of what's in my house just alerts people as they become aware that the channel exists. So that means that I also have to increase my security. hmm And I've been taking measures to do just that. Now, there are a multitude of ways that you can increase your security. And it doesn't matter how old you are, how physically capable are, how, rural or urban you live, whether it's an apartment, whether it's a house, whether it's, any number of things. So we're going to go over all of that, and I will have tons of information for you so that you can check into it also. Now, what I'm looking for specifically, okay, is to give you budget-friendly home and personal protection plans to put into action. Super important nowadays. Very important. You can adapt to your situation what works for you. So I need you to be open-minded with this, okay? Whether you live in an apartment, an urban home, a suburban home, a rental home, a rural home, whether you live in an RV, you can put these into action to help protect yourself, to help protect your family, your hard work, your hard-earned belongings, right? Um, that's the key right there, because there's always some kind of low life, useless POS that thinks that they deserve it when you've put in all the work. And yeah, no, no. So first, we're going to look at deterring trouble, because you want to make yourself a hard target. You want to make yourself something that's different. Like they said, these are opportunistic crimes most of the time. They know what your routine is. They know that nobody's going to be home. They can tell, oh, look that they left their garage doors, their door open. I wonder. Yeah, no. Okay. So the goal is to make intruders or trouble move on before an incident even ever happens. And when I talked to the sheriff's officer that I spoke to this weekend, I threw out, because he was throwing out all different kinds of, scenarios. And so when the class took a break, I said, I need to ask a question, because I'm not somebody you can see from the road. So, none of that is going to help. So I'm wondering what your suggestions would be for me. I'm 300 feet off the road, totally hidden by trees. unless you know, you don't know. And so what would you suggest? And that's what started this whole thing flying around in my brain. I'm making notes like a crazy person, okay? So you want to deter trouble. That's it. Universal tips. Here's the action. The action is lighting. You want to look at different ways to light. Why it matters is because criminals hate visibility. They really do. Low cost options, seriously low cost options, are solar motion lights. They're $15 to $25. Battery puck night lights in the dark for hallways, interior. I am going to put a link down below for exterior motion sensor uh, outdoor lights. We have these on our property. They go off everywhere. Oh my gosh. But it's kind of fun at nighttime sitting inside going, "Oh, the light up on the hill is on, or the light by the end of the driveway is on, or the light over in the side yard." Anytime deer walk past it, even the lights turn on. And so being aware of those, being able to see those is huge. And that simple amount of light, according to the sheriff, is enough to deter some criminals. And that's an easy fix, right? So the one that I bought is the one that I'm linking because it comes in a 1, 2, 3, or 4 pack, I think. And I'm actually adding 4 more to the list because I'm looking at different areas in the yard now after having this conversation about where I can put them. A, so that they'll get enough light, and B, so that I'll still be able to see them when they go off, because I think that's a huge help. We actually have a post on the driveway that we have mounted one of these to that also has the sensor for our driveway doorbell, right? It's a driveway doorbell. I don't know. Anyway, and I have to turn that off before I start recording because otherwise it's going off constantly. But we know that when that light is on and we hear that, alarm go off, that something has come up the driveway. It's something that simple. There's no wires, there's no nothing, but we're alerted. And I'll tell you what, that even wakes me up in the middle of the night when something goes past it. So it's not a bad idea. Pretty simple solution. I'll put the links down below. So lighting is the big one. Criminals hate visibility. Solar motion lights are relatively inexpensive. The next one is landscaping or clear view. Okay. You want to eliminate hiding spots. I am literally surrounded by trees. That's impossible. But trim shrubs under windows, use thorny plants near ground floor windows. I'm a huge, huge advocate of that. Okay. For a long time, people started saying, don't have bushes in front of your lower level windows. And I'm like, no, have bushes in front of your lower level. It makes entering more difficult, especially if they're a little pricky, right? But when you're looking at something like, fire hazards or something, yeah, that could be, kind of uncomfortable leaving, but it's a heck of a lot more comfortable than burning. So pick your battles. I'd rather have people have a difficult time accessing my house. I'll deal with a few scratches if I have to go out them. So next is security film or bars. Like I said, I'm not big on bars, right? But they do have security film. If the day ever comes, I may put bars on the windows. I'll hate it, but I'll do it. It strengthens weak entry points. So that's the big one right there. DIY window film kits, they're like 30 to 60 bucks. And you can do them yourself. You can put them on. Okay. And it just helps add that extra layer of security to the windows. Next is cameras and doorbells. And, they've got the Ring doorbell and I don't even know all the names of all the different ones. That's the one that sticks in my head. So, it works because it's a visible deterrent, kind of like having a sign, a visible deterrent plus evidence. And that's my favorite part. Okay. I wrote them down. There's Wise, there's Blink, and there's Ring, and there's a few other ones. Some of them even come for, you can even find them like under 50 bucks. They're a real basic model. And yeah, great thing to have because just knowing that they can see you sometimes is a deterrent. And because for the most part, criminals are dumb. I mean, dumb. They'll walk right up to the camera and go, "Oh, okay, yeah. Uh, yeah." Signs and decals. Like I said, a sign is a deterrent. And the sheriff actually said, he goes, you could put one of those like ADT signs at the end of your driveway or anything. I'm like, still nobody's going to see it. It's just not a visible kind of thing, so not here it isn't. Not that it isn't for other people. So I want you to take a look at it and see if it works for you. Put it on the door, put it in the yard, put it wherever you want to. Monitored by brand name, right? Stickers or beware of dog, even if you don't have one. Now you do want to watch if you do have one, I used to hear things about liability issues if you put a beware of dog sign. But basically, while I believe that my dogs are remarkably dangerous in the fact that they will lick your face off, okay? I do know from experience that they will get between me and somebody coming in the house that they don't like because it's happened before. And I always trust my dog's intuition because for the most part, they do want to lick your face off. But then there are those people, the dogs know, the dogs just know, and they will protect their pack above anything else. And so when my girls get in between me and somebody else that they don't like or they don't trust, I always believe them because they've never been wrong yet. Now, locks are another option. And this is something you want to look at. Even if you're a renter, this can be done, okay? Simple upgrades make a huge difference. So door reinforcements, strike plates, and window pins. So strike plates in your door. And this is something that I had heard a long time ago. And then I was talking to a friend about it. And she goes, I'm surprised you haven't heard about that. Because I brought it up because I heard about it at this class. And I'm like, but I have heard about it before. It just kind of like fell out of my head. It became something that I wasn't going to deal with. But in the door with your regular lock with the handle or with the deadbolt, okay, there is the lock, but then there's that plate that it goes into. And builder's grade screws are only about that big, which means just about anybody could kick that sucker in, okay? But if you take those out, totally a DIY thing here. If you take out those screws in that strike plate and put in long screws, long, strong screws, then you're that much more secure using those. And even the sheriff mentioned this as being something that just we should all automatically do. And Phil informed me that he did that years ago. And I'm like, okay, thank you. Thank you very much. So you want to take a look at those. The window pins, you want to make sure that those are all working. You want to make sure that the windows lock very well. Any kind of reinforcement for your doors to make sure that people cannot bust in. It's an issue. Those sliding glass doors, right? I hated those things. I still hate those things. Because I knew how insecure they were. And so I was getting sticks or metal rods or whatever I could to put in the door track to keep, it from opening from the outside. Is that a pain? Yeah. When you're busy and your hands are full, those are a pain, but you're also safe. So it's picking your battles again, trying to decide which one is more important. And now we're going to go by something. I broke it down a little bit farther into what kind of dwelling you have, because all dwellings have something different. So let's say you live in an apartment, okay? You want to focus on door security and awareness. Situational awareness is going to be your number one thing, even at home. Even at home, okay? Use door braces, portable locks, and a peephole camera. I love all of those ideas. And portable locks, to me, are just fantastic because if you travel, these are a great backup to have on your hotel room door, but they're also great in a house too. A portable lock is fantastic. Camera bombing again, okay? If you live in an urban home, as he's trying to go face first in my coffee, crowded areas equal noise, equal visibility. So cameras, window locks, motion lights, neighborhood watch app, those all come into play. That is something that you definitely want to pay attention to. You're not going to hear as many things as like I might hear where the normal sound is exceptionally quiet, but you're still going to notice when things are a little bit different. So the thing to do to back up, because you won't necessarily pay attention to odd noises, cameras, window locks, motion lights, neighborhood watch app. Big, 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 big. In a suburban home, you live in the suburbs, okay? Um, not directly downtown, but in the suburbs, then those have larger lots than, city lots. And the problem with the larger lots is that it's an isolation risk because, and I said this when I lived in downtown Chicago, the houses were like shoulder width apart, right? And I used to laugh because I'm like, I had more privacy theoretically in those houses that were shoulder width apart than I did in the suburbs where I lived. And you had like an entire lot between you and the house next door. But you're actually isolated more because not everybody's necessarily paying attention. Not at, when you live in a close city, you kind of get used to tuning those things out, but you recognize when something's not right. But when you live in an area that you're more spread out, not country, but in the suburbs, then you may not be paying attention to this because it's just not something that's on your radar. So you do deal with some isolation risk. So layer your lighting. Definitely layer your lighting, okay? Front lighting, back lighting, garage reinforcement, alarm signage, all of that. If you live in a rural home, ta-da, longer response time, absolutely. That equals self-reliance, okay? Because the response time is as slow as it is, we have to be able to handle things if something happens. And you have to know what you're doing, though. Trust me on this one. So dogs, gate locks, perimeter motion alarms, radios for communication, all of those, and any of the above. The lighting is definitely a thing. Even though you can't see me from the road, that extra lighting makes them think that they can be seen. And I know that if I made the right amount of wrong noise, that my neighbors would hear it. And okay, there you go. They know even the difference between normal barking and something's wrong barking. So definitely keep an eye out for that if you're in a rural home. RVs, because they're RVs, they're just there's some security issues that just are innate to them. Portable and small space. That's the big thing right there. You want to use a steering wheel lock. Always use a steering wheel. Not always, not when you're driving. Okay. Motion lights. Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, you can mount these things to anything. So mount motion lights. A door bar is super important, and bear spray if you're out in the rural. Now, I don't think bear spray is a bad idea for anybody, truth be told. No, I think it's applicable for something trying to come into your house. And that RV is your house. That suburban home is your house. That urban home is your house. That apartment is your house. And so having something like bear spray or wasp spray, that's a valid concern. Okay. So when you're looking at protecting yourself, though, there is safety and there is the legality of it. And just because they're breaking into your house does not make it legal for you to do some things. And gosh, there's such a weird fine line. You know what I mean? If it's the difference between my physical well-being, which includes some jail time, but stopping them, I'm good with that. I'm good with 3 hots on a cot. Let me take a nap. I'm good. Okay. But you should still know the law. It's something to look up, especially because I can only speak for where I'm at, not where you're at. So it's things you want to look into. Okay, so tiered defense options are things to consider and pay attention to. Noise and alert tools. Okay, a whistle. Everyone should have a whistle. Everyone should have whistles available to them. Personal alarm or an air horn. I love air horns. They're so disruptive. They're great for seniors or people with limited mobilities, okay? And they can attract attention pretty darn quick. Yes, my neighbors would be wondering what the heck's going on if I blew an air horn over here. They don't pay attention to much anything else, but they'll get that. Now, barrier and distance tools, pepper spray. And I specifically asked the sheriff, okay, because I'm not taking your word for it. So I said, is there a difference between pepper spray and pepper gel? And he goes, no, they both hurt and they're both effective. And I went, thank you. That's straight from the sheriff's department, okay? Or bear spray, same thing. Choose gels for indoors, less blowback, but you're still going to get blowback no matter what. And that's something that you need to take into consideration. You can get a good one from a shop that sells self-defense tools, or you can go just get one from Walmart, because at the end of the day, it is what it is. But the ones that you can get from self-defense places is a little more peppery, shall we say. Impact tools, because I like to make an impact, okay? Flashlight baton, tactical pen, or a cane. I love impact tools. They are dual use for light or walking aid. That's it. I think that having a tactical pen is great. A cane, they make canes that are all kinds of self-defense now, okay? Use them. Learn to use them right. Learn to use them so that you don't have them used against you. And a flashlight baton, yeah, hello. You're going to have to pay attention. You're going to have to know what you're using. Just the fact that you're carrying it is not enough. It's just like anything else. Now, electric defense. Okay. When the sheriff in our area busts out laughing when I said I would so rock a taser, I know we're both afraid, but a stun gun or a taser, they are not legal everywhere. They are not legal everywhere. So make sure that you are covered if you do purchase them. Like, I can't order them online to come to my house, because in Michigan, you have to have a certain license to be able to have one, to own one, to use one. So yeah, it varies by state law. And once you get it, practice using it. Okay. That doesn't mean do it to your spouse or your sibling. I'm just saying, practice using it. And they're not always a sure thing either. So you want to be careful. Now, if you're older or you have mobility issues, which happens, these are some things that you want to look at. So for younger adults, say 20 to 50 years old, that's a nice little range, right? Pepper spray, firearm with a holster, tactical flashlight. Bam, you are layered, okay? Take local safety course, practice situational drills. I think that's huge. A lot of churches are now getting training in, what do they call it? In active shooter scenarios. So, maybe get involved with your church for something like that. Take lessons yourself. Take different lessons on different modes of security, for yourself. They're out there, trust me. And if you're an older adult, 50 and above, okay, cane defense, pepper gel, personal alarm is a good thing to have. I do not know why we can't also have a firearm with a holster and a tactical flashlight and pepper spray, because I know I can, but maybe in 20 years, I might not be able to. Focus on distance tools. You want to keep them as far away from you as you can. Loud alarms and layered barriers, like locks, dogs, and lighting. So layer those barriers, make it more difficult for them to get in. They're going to come up the driveway, the lights are going to come on, and then the dogs are going to start barking, and then they're going to find out the locks are a real pain in the whoozy what's. So all those layers, they're going to go out probably at the first one. Layer it. And as we're older, we need to pay, more attention to how all of those impact us. And more for people with limited mobility, you want to look at door wedges, alarm systems, and easy access buttons. So you want to keep defense tools rechargeable at bed and chair height. Where you put them is just as important as having them and knowing how to use them. Putting them in your sock drawer on the second floor is not the best idea, okay? Now, if you have young kids that are going to be bebopping around there, put them up higher than them. but still know where they are and make sure that everyone in your household is safe. Now there's the what if, because what if? What if some dingaling off of Facebook says they're going to come steal my stuff? I hope they're right with their maker, okay? But readiness, you're going to prepare for the what if. Home preparedness, definitely. This is where you need to start looking, okay? Figure out a safe room. Choose an interior room, bathroom, or a closet with a lock. Now, I can tell you that currently I don't have an interior room, and the locks to the bathrooms are just about useless. And we don't have a lot of doors. We have intentionally kept it a very open uh, floor plan, you know? So I'm trying to think of where exactly that would be for me, but we'll see. Emergency lighting, solar lantern headlamps are great. Flashlights by the bed, that's 10 to 30 bucks right there. Those will help you, okay? You don't want to leave your house. If you wake up in the middle of the night and you have heard somebody break in to your home, you don't want to go meet them. You want them to come to you. Why? Because you're familiar with the house, they're not. That buys you a little bit of time and you have the upper hand because you are familiar with the layout. You are familiar with what's going on. And the minute they enter your bedroom, your life is at risk. But you better know what you're doing. You had better know what you're doing. Okay. So the whole key to this is to make sure that we're not, getting to that point. Phone backup. Keep an old charged phone. 911 still works on those. So if you have an older model phone, cellular phone, that doesn't have any plan hooked up to it, that's okay because 911 still works for that. And so that is something that you want to have by your side. That's something that you want to have available regardless and make sure that it's charged because it's useless otherwise, you know? You need an evacuation plan. You need to seriously sit down and figure out an evacuation plan from the place that you are residing in. That's important. Get to know 3 to 5 nearby households or apartment mates, you know. It doesn't cost anything to do this, but it's probably one of the most invaluable tools that you'll have. Get to know the people around you. And if they prove to be people that you don't want to know, then don't tell them too much at the onset. You know, get to know them before. You don't tell everybody everything. It doesn't work that way. Now, some personal safety habits that we can all put into place because this has got me kind of on high alert anyway after taking this class. And I know I have more homework to do, you know, regarding this whole thing, but always trust your intuition. Always trust your intuition. My intuition has never been wrong, and it proves it to me on a regular basis. Okay. So always trust your intuition. If it feels wrong, step back, change up your routines. We've been saying this for a while, right? Don't do the same thing all the time, all the time, all the time. Yeah, it makes it easier for us to get it done, but at the same time, it makes it easier for us to become a victim. Don't be predictable in arrivals and departures so that somebody else actually knows your routine as well as you do, if not better. Keep your doors locked even when you're in the home. I stink at this. This is not my strong suit, okay? Most of the doors are locked when I'm in my home, but there's also 2 of us coming and going at all times. So that one's a little harder, and I've got a million excuses, but none of them are good. So work on keeping yourself locked up, you know, not to the point where you can't get out, but so that you're safe. Because just because you're home, especially if you're older, that doesn't mean you're safe. Nope. Never open to strangers without identification. Verify their ID. If they are there saying, I'm with the electric company, let me see your ID. I'm with the gas company, let me see your ID. Don't open up without it. There are some instances where that's going to be hard to do. I sell eggs from a sign on the road. People are going to come up, but I am very cautious when they do come up. I'm very aware of where they are. I'm very aware of where I am. And we kind of do that little dance. You know what I mean? Set boundaries politely but firmly. It doesn't behoove anybody for you to come across abrasive to every stranger that you meet. So be polite, but know your boundaries and be firm about them and don't apologize for them. I am so tired of people thinking that I should apologize for having boundaries. You have crossed this boundary. You're not welcome to come to this part. Why do people think that they're allowed to every aspect of my life? Because they want to be. No, it's not like that. Not like that at all. And so you are responsible for setting those boundaries. You don't have to be super nice to everybody. You have to be polite, but firm in your boundaries. It's a fine balancing act sometimes, but you can do it. You can do it. Well, what if I'm rude to them and they don't like me? Then they weren't meant for you anyway, and you're all good, really. Okay, we're going to zip through this because it's getting kind of long. So, location-specific readiness plans. That's what you want to look into because everybody has a different location, a different situation. If you're in an apartment, door bar or add-a-lock for travel or temporary use. I'll put a link to the add-a-lock down below. Portable locks, they're fantastic. They're so good. Sound alarms or camera peepholes. Keep a go bag near the door for fast evacuation if you're in an apartment. Best thing you could do. If you're in an urban home, this is what you can do. Layer your lights and cameras front and back. Keep valuables out of sight from street windows. Yeah. Join local community alert groups like Citizen App or Nextdoor. Keep an eye on what's going on in the neighborhood. Suburban home. Reinforce your garage doors and your back sliders. Build rapport with trusted neighbors for a watch exchange and use timer lights when you're away. Yeah, they're not a sure thing, but it's more effective. People who are bad don't like light. Rural home, add a farm gate or a chain at the driveway. Yes, it's a pain, but you can do it, okay? Two-way radios if cell coverage is poor. Dogs or livestock bells as natural alerts. They're great. Keep first aid and trauma kits available and stocked. I can attest to that. Now, if you live in an RV or a van, okay, because that's a whole new situation right there, park under lighted, visible areas. It's important to be seen, okay? Carry tire deflation tool for theft prevention. Keep pepper spray and horn by the bed, because that's where you're going to be sleeping. And plan safe overnight stops like Cracker Barrel, campgrounds. I don't know if you can't stop at Walmart or not, but hook up with your boondock friends, your RV friends, and there's ways to find out where you can hang out, okay? Now, a sample starter kit, budget friendly, because that's what I'm going for here. A door brace and a window film runs you about 40-50 bucks. Motion lights, you get a 2-pack for about 30 bucks. Camera or video doorbell can range anywhere from 50 to, whatever. The sky's the limit. Pepper spray, pepper gel spray, bear spray, whatever. You're looking at 15, 20 bucks, maybe 30. Emergency flashlight, minimum 10 bucks. I mean, they're not expensive. Personal alarm keychain. Yes, 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 yes. Okay. 10 bucks-ish. 10 bucks-ish. You can find them. A basic first aid kit, 25 bucks. That's a basic first aid kit. You're looking at a total for all of that about 200 bucks that you don't have to spend all at once. You can get it over time. And that will improve your situational safety wherever you are. Remember that it's about maintaining safety without paranoia. Fear doesn't get you anywhere but afraid. Okay? Awareness makes you prepared. And that's what we're going for. Review your locks. Stop tonight and go look at your locks, okay? Your lights and the safety gear. You want to check all that stuff every 6 months. So, hey, guess what? Daylight savings time is coming up. Add that to your daylight savings time chores, right? So you're going to check your fire extinguishers. You're going to check your smoke alarms. You're going to check your CO2. You're going to check all of there's a list now for daylight savings time. You want to rehearse your home safety plan like a fire drill, just like any other preparedness thing. If you don't do it, if you don't test it out, then you don't know how to do it when the emergency comes. You need to make it a memory, a muscle memory. Thank you. Talk with your neighbors. Just a simple conversation. You don't have to get their social security number, okay? A known community is a safer one. Just talk to your neighbors. Remember, prepared means you're not fearful. It negates fearful, okay? It's about confidence, calm, and control. And that's what our goal here is. So, when somebody says, well, they're just going to come and steal your food, they'll do it one time. That's it. And they better make it good, because I'm going to put everything I've got into stopping them. And I'm not pretending to be Arnold Schwarzenegger or Rambo or anything else. I'm an almost 60-year-old woman who has a torn rotator cuff, okay? I will stop you. I will. Because I also have 60 years of anger issues that I have never taken out on anybody. It can be done. Don't be a victim. Don't allow them to make you a victim. Okay, everybody. Until next time. This was kind of heavy. Be safe. Keep stacking it to the rafters, my friends.